Taoiseach, last Saturday week on the 23rd of June, Canadian tourist Nino Dalmatian was attacked on O'Connell Street in the early hours of the morning. He was viciously beaten, sustained serious injuries and was taken to the Mater Hospital. He died there yesterday with his parents and his sister at his bedside. I want to express my deepest sympathies to Mr. Dalmatian's parents, his family and his friends. Nino came to Dublin to experience all the greatness of our capital city. That he didn't get to go home is heartbreaking. The vicious attack that led to Mr. Dalmatian's death again highlights the hard reality that our city centre is not safe. And I say this as a very proud Dubliner, as a Dubliner who believes that this is the greatest city in the world, with the best people and the best communities. But the truth is that Dublin's city centre is scourged with antisocial behaviour, open drug dealing, drug consumption, and by gangs who create a daily atmosphere of fear and intimidation. And this remains the case 7 months after a complete collapse of law and order during the Dublin riots. Government sticking its head in the sand and declaring Dublin city centre safe doesn't change that reality, Taoiseach. Talk to anybody who works here, runs a business or lives in the inner city and they will tell you the truth. They don't feel safe. The communities of the inner city are sick and tired of the antisocial behaviour, the sense of threat and dread, fed up with the lack of support and services, angry that the Garda resources are stretched beyond imagination. In the aftermath of the Dublin riots, government made big promises, but the truth is that you continue to fail the people of this city. All of us who live and work here, who walk these streets, who grow up in Dublin, who come to visit and who love this city deserve better. Lerian an tunsi tragodach Nino Dalmatian nachhfuil lor chathair bailíocha clia sábháilte. Ní mór ag an rialtas dúiseacht agus fíorréití a thuirt chun cinn chun fíor athrú a chur I bhfeidhm. Taoiseach, people need to know that they are safe in the city of Dublin at any time. That's the bare minimum that people are entitled to. So we need now real action from government. We need proper investment of resources. And the first step is that government must acknowledge the true extent of the challenge. Pretending that everything is rosy in the garden simply won't get the job done. Dublin city centre needs proper, ongoing Garda presence of a scale necessary to meet this challenge. That means a strong, visible daily operation to ensure that people are safe and that the centre of our city is returned to the people, to those who live here, who work here, who operate businesses in Dublin, and those who visit our great city. And Taoiseach, the inner city must also be invested in. Communities have really felt the lack of proper investment in youth work, in community development and local services. Safe communities, strong communities are built from the grassroots up. So Taoiseach, can I ask you, what is government's response to this latest brutality and loss of life on the main street of our capital city?
Thank you, Deputy McDonald. Taoiseach, please.
Thanks very much, Ceann Comhairle. As I rise today in the Dáil, I just have to begin by acknowledging that since we last met as a Dáil, only yesterday, 4 lives have been lost on our roads. 4 lives in the last 24 hours. And I know that communities in Mayo and in Westmeath have been devastated by the news of this loss of life. And I know I join with everybody in this House in sending our deepest sympathies to the families of those who have died. This tragically brings the number of lives lost on Irish roads already this year to 97. But of course, no number can hide the reality in terms of the personal tragedy and upset and they've lost their families and friends behind each of those numbers feel. So I just wanted to really acknowledge that as a stark reminder of the importance of road safety and the dangers on our roads. I want to thank Deputy McDonald for raising this very important issue this afternoon. I'm absolutely appalled at the recent vicious attack in Dublin city centre which resulted in the death of a young man, Nino Dalmatian. My thoughts are with his loved ones. A man who came from Montreal to, as you say, enjoy the best of our city, the best of our country, came here on his holidays. The attack was absolutely reprehensible, and the Gardaí have already made arrests and indeed charges in relation to this attack, and therefore it limits me somewhat in what I can say on this specific horrific tragedy. But I do know that there will now be a full murder inquiry because of the loss of Nino's life yesterday, and everybody in this House thinks of his family at this very difficult time. I want the Deputy to know, I want the people of Dublin to know, and indeed I want the people of Ireland and anyone visiting this country to know that we take extraordinarily seriously the safety of people in our city. And in many ways, I think that was so evident last weekend, where we saw so many people come to Dublin, come to Croke Park for GA matches, 2 of them, come to one of the 4 concerts that were on in different locations across the city, come to partake in Pride. We saw so many extra people, hundreds of thousands of people, come to Dublin last weekend and to enjoy our city, enjoy it safely. And that's the Dublin that I know we're all proud of, and that's the Dublin that we want to always protect. In terms of public safety, the Garda Commissioner has put significant additional resources into high visibility policing in Dublin city centre, and I want you to know, Deputy McDonald, that that will continue. And a very practical example of that is what happened as recently as last week as well, where we saw 157 new Gardaí test graduate from Templemore, from the Garda College, and of that 157, 102 of these have now been assigned to policing duties in Dublin. In addition to that, we're very much putting our money where our mouth is in terms of the priority that we attach to safety, having increased the Garda overtime budget for this year compared to last year by €28 million. Again, for people watching it at home, what that extra money is not just extra money, it's extra money that results in very, very, very many extra hours of Gardaí on the beat across our city, and indeed across towns and cities in Ireland as well. And specifically in relation to Dublin, we've now seen Operation Irene commence. This is a specific Garda operation that commences for the summer months. It runs from June to September across the Dublin metropolitan region. And it is, as the Deputy rightly implies, it is a multi-agency operation with the aim of identifying and preventing antisocial behaviour, combating alcohol consumption at an underage level, consumption of alcohol in public places, and generally putting a Garda focus for the summer months specifically on the issue of antisocial behaviour, with the overall aim of Operation Irene to enhance community safety and community confidence. So more Gardaí in Dublin, more Garda overtime for Dublin, a new Operation Irene for the summer months, and also a Dublin City Centre task force, which in fairness I know you and your colleagues welcomed, which will have an opportunity for Dublin representatives, including yourself and councillors, TDs and senators, to feed into what a vibrant, safe Dublin City Centre looks like, with a view for that task force reporting to me over the summer months.
Thank you, Taoiseach.
Thank you, Ceann Corlin, and can I also extend sympathy and solidarity to the families of those precious lives that were lost in Mayo and Westmeath. You see, Taoiseach, the fundamental problem that we have here is that you're failing to face the actual reality on the ground. And the reality on the ground is that there is not high visibility policing in Dublin's inner city. It's not there. You cite Pride, you cite occasions where there are concerts and so on. Yes, those are well organised. I tip my hat to them for that. But I'm talking about the everyday reality of people who live in Dublin's inner city. And they will tell you, to a man and to a woman, that the Gardaí are not visible, they are not present, they are stretched beyond belief. They will tell you that they don't feel safe. They will tell you that when there are incidents and they make that call, that the response time is far, far too slow. That's the reality. My colleague Louise O'Reilly witnessed the aftermath of the assault on Nino. She was on site. She described it as utterly terrifying and horrific. And you see, that's not an isolated incident. This has happened before. And Taoiseach, this will happen again until there is a real step change in government. It's not enough for you to stand up and cite off statistics. You have to deal with the real, lived reality that the inner city is not safe and that communities living there do not feel safe. There needs to be more Gardaí, not simply an overtime allocation, and investment in communities. And I don't see a serious approach at all from you, from your government, so-called champions of law and order. You've left people really vulnerable and feeling very, very unsafe.
Taoiseach, please.
So I suppose when you're Taoiseach rather than the Leader of the Opposition, it's not good enough to just define the problem. You actually have to tell the people of Ireland the actions that you're taking. And let me absolutely agree that there's a huge body of work that we need to do in relation to Dublin City Centre. And let me tell you 8 things we're doing. We're putting body cams on our Gardaí, a key tool in terms of helping with public safety and Garda safety, and we've started that in Dublin. Secondly, we've legislated to increase the sentence for assault causing harm and to increase sentencing for anyone who attacks a member of an Garda Síochána or another emergency worker. Second measure. Third thing we're doing is this month we will bring forward more proposals from Minister Donoghue and Minister McEntee in terms of more efforts we can put in place to support the Gardaí based on what we've heard from Gardaí on the front line. Fourthly, we're legislating in relation to knife crime. That legislation was in this House, in this door today. Fifthly, we are providing extra money for more Garda overtime. That's not a statistic, it's €28 million in order to fund more Garda hours on the streets of our capital city and across our country. We've established, the sixth thing we've done, we've established a Dublin City task force, and we're willing to work with you, work with people across the opposition, across Dublin, to see how we can pull everybody together as to what a safe, vibrant Dublin looks like. Seventh, we've put in place Operation Irene, a specific Garda multi-agency operation for the summer months to tackle antisocial behaviour. And the 8th thing we've done in a very practical sense, because we do need more Gardaí, we've seen 157 of them come out of Templemore last Friday, and we've assigned 102 of them to Dublin. They're real practical measures.
Deputy Batcher.